Binder's Ball Club moves into tonight's matchup with the Billikens of St. Louis U, standing at 11-10 on the season. Really on something of a roll in the middle of a mini home stand. They'll play Northern Iowa here on Thursday night, Indiana State on Saturday. So these are games certainly the Redbirds want to put in the win column. Hi, I'm Art Kimball, along with U-High's head basketball coach Cal Hubbard. Cal, ISU at least is putting together the win column. They haven't all been pretty, but they've been successful.
I think the key to their whole season is they figured out a way to win. And I think when you've got good kids that work hard and they figure out a way to win, you can have a successful season.
What do you anticipate tonight? Non-conference matchup. St. Louis U comes in out of a very, very tough league. Probably play a more difficult schedule than the Redbirds.
Well, I would think that both teams would be really loose, and we should see a really good basketball game. Both teams, I know Illinois State's going to have to control the tempo a little bit. I know St. Louis likes to shoot the ball from the outside, so it should be an exciting game.
And we are expecting a banner performance from Mr. Hubbard tonight. He's just left practice at U-High. Tells me he's keyed up and in great condition and raring to go, right?
I didn't say anything about great condition.
Well, we'll talk to a guy who is in great condition. Let's turn to our pregame interview with ISU's head basketball coach, Bob Binder. Bob, tonight, something unusual on your schedule, a non-conference ball game with the Billikens. They've had some problems personnel-wise, but seem to have played pretty well on occasion, too.
Well, they're coming off of a real big win last Wednesday evening. They beat TCU, who is one of the top teams in the Southwest Conference, and beat them decisively down in St. Louis. Played the type of game I'm sure they feel they're capable of. They've they're playing an awful lot of young kids. They're starting a lot of freshmen. Their best scorers are freshmen. Quentin Diller is really the only player with game experience, and so they're going through what a lot of teams have to when you got young kids on the floor, and that is their decisions aren't always the best, and they have a tendency to get down on themselves. But right now, just like everybody else in the country, when you get a non-conference break, it's a little breath of fresh air.
Nothing's easy in coaching. I don't think I'm telling you anything you don't know. I mean, you specialize in the one-point ball game, but Bob, here he lost two of his top scorers, defected, dropped out of school, dropped off the team earlier in the year. Then he had, Ryan Grant, the big kid, freshman from Effingham. Everybody was very high on. Apparently had a recurrence of his knee problems. Yeah. So he's lost three young men he was counting on very heavily. If you've lost one you were counting on very heavily, boy, you've got to be able to adapt, don't you?
You do. I don't think there's the team in the nation that goes through an entire season without some kind of adversity, and a lot of times it has to do with an injury. It may not be a season ending, but where a kid is going to miss a couple games. And again, I go back to a little bit of maturity, and handling those situations means a lot. And we had to deal with one last year with Scott Fowler, and I think we're much better mentally prepared to handle it this year with Reggie. So I think with losing Robinson and Skinner, those things hurt, but maybe the cohesiveness of this team is gelling and starting to happen for them now, and the distractions are behind them.
There's no such thing as an unimportant game on your schedule, is there?
Not in February. Even a non-conference game, I know maybe the question is, can you get up to play a non-conference game when you're in the midst of the conference race? And I think you can when you consider that we have the week we have. We play Bradley on a Saturday, we play St. Louis on Monday, we play Thursday and Saturday and Monday. So you can't turn it on and off and expect to have the momentum you want to create going into the tournament.
Plus the fact, at this point, you're not completely discounting the postseason. Regardless of what happens in the MVC tournament, I guess we're talking about hope NIT people might find you a good attraction. Every win makes a great deal of difference there.
It makes a huge difference, especially if we can finish the season, regular season, with a number of victories, because it gets us in a position that whatever we do in the conference tournament is sort of the topping of the season. But there's a chance that if we would finish this regular season strong, that we would be considered for an NIT bid.
Bob, good luck to you tonight, and of course we'll see you again later in the week with Northern Iowa.
Thank you.
ISU's head basketball coach Bob Binder will be back with the Redbirds and the Billikens in just a moment.
For Quitman Dillard. At forward for Illinois State, a 6'5" sophomore from Chicago Young, 54, Chuck Barnes. At the other forward for St. Louis, a 6'4" freshman from St. Louis Parkway West, number 32, Scott Highmark. And at the other forward for the Redbirds, 6'7" from Newton, Massachusetts, a sophomore, number 21, Scott Taylor. At center for the Billikens, a 6'9" freshman from Chicago, Illinois, and Crete Monee High School, number 30, Brian Smith. And in the middle for the Redbirds, 6'5" from Chicago, South Shore, a senior, number 42, Scott Fowler. At one of the guards for St. Louis, 6'4" from St. Louis, a freshman, number 11, Julian Winfield. And at one of the guards for Illinois State, 6'2" from Quincy, Illinois, a sophomore, number 34, Todd Wemhainer. At the other guard for the Billikens, 6'1" from Venice, Illinois, a freshman, number 13, Erwin Claggett. And at the other guard for the Redbirds, 5'11" from Normal Community, a junior, number 12, Todd Cagle. The St. Louis coach in his 10th season is Rich Grauer, and the Redbird coach in his 3rd season is Bob Bender.
Okay, there you have the starting lineups, and as you note, a couple of changes for Illinois State, really both caused by injuries. Chuck Barnes replacing Steve Fitch in a forward spot, although Fitch will play, has a little ankle problem. And Richard Thomas not starting either, being replaced again by Todd Cagle. There you see the offensive prowess of these two ball clubs. The Billikens, Cal, have been the higher scoring team on the average, 72 points per outing to ISU's 65.7. Defensively, ISU's been much better by almost 13 points a game, allowing 66 to the Billikens' 79.1 points per game. That's a defensive average coach's dread, isn't it?
If you're scoring 72 and giving up 79, it's not good.
Yeah, that's a nightmare. That has to be pretty persistent. But a lot of youngsters for St. Louis, including number 13 out there, Erwin Claggett, who was a fine ball player for the Venice Club down in southwestern Illinois for the last couple of years. And many people told me, Cal, he's one of the best Class A players in the state last year. They didn't stay alive very long, so a lot of people didn't see them.
Well, the 6'9" kid, Brian Smith, played for a friend of mine at Crete Monee, and I know he's got great athletic ability.
All right, the Redbirds have the opening tip, and here's Chuck Barnes on the baseline, stripped away, and the basketball will go back to Illinois State. Quitman Dillard from Chicago Westinghouse got a hand on the basketball. The Billikens in their traveling royal blue uniforms, trimmed in white. ISU, of course, in their home white, trimmed in scarlet. And Scott Taylor has the ball on the left wing. Taylor moves on Smith, out front to Wemhainer. Back to Barnes. And Smith is this call reaching over the back of Scott Taylor. Brian Smith, he's a good-sized kid, Cal, 6'9", 200-pounder.
Yes, he tried to play defense behind him and then reach around and get the ball, and that's a foul in any league.
Kind of a tough post-up for Taylor, though. He's giving away 2 inches in height, but again, that extra year's experience favoring Taylor, and of course, it's a big factor in the college game. Inbounds pass to Taylor, ball was deflected. Scotty gets it back, goes
Good
back
job
to
staying after.
Yep. Taylor averaging 7.4 points per game, got it home as the Billikens with their first possession down the floor quickly. Claggett comes out front to Highmark. Highmark, very highly talented player. On the range, a long bomb by Quitman Dillard is no good. The Redbirds have possession. Highmark was the St. Louis Post-Dispatch Player of the Year in the city of St. Louis last year. Out of Parkway West High School, Birds travel. Basketball goes back to the Billikens. Number 11 bringing the ball to the floor is Julian Winfield. St. Louis Cardinal Ritter High School. Averages 9.5 a game. Winfield to the baseline with the pull-up. Nice rebound to Scott Taylor. Stolen away from Taylor, however, by Dillard. Smith gets it back, goes for the dunk, misses it. Battles back once again, is fouled by Wemhainer underneath. This may be a shooting foul. We'll see her again.
Good rebound. Just got caught from behind, stripped, and gave it up.
The dunk that doesn't go.
Yeah.
Couple that with a 79-point defensive average, and Rich Grauer's hair. No wonder it's gray, right? Boy, sometimes a tough way to make a living. We have not identified the officials tonight, Cal. I normally count on you to do that because I know you and the fellows in the stripes.
They're the guys in the striped shirts.
Yeah, you get along with them so well.
Yes.
Inbound pass, knocked away out of bounds by Chuck Barnes. All right, we will identify them. Paul Castor, Omaha, Nebraska. Willie Sanchez, Harrisburg, South Dakota.
And Tommy Smith.
Tommy Smith from Topeka, Kansas.
Formerly of Kewanee.
Kewanee and University of Kansas. Fine player. But he turned into an official.
Just can't trust some people.
Julian Winfield out front. Left side to Highmark. Highmark moves around Barnes. Travel, got away with it, missed the layup. Rebound underneath, fought for it. Chuck Barnes wrestles it out to Wimhater. Illinois State leading 2-0. There's Todd on the fly. There's out to Todd Cagle. Cagle, actually, this thing lost a handle on the basketball. Stolen away by Claggett. And here come the Billikens up the other way. And what do we have? Illegal screen, I believe, was the call on Quitman Dillard.
Looks like he was backing in and call for it.
Look at Bob Bender. As the Redbirds bring the ball up the floor, the person of Todd Wimhater. Wimhater got down in front of the St. Louis bench and lost the ball out of bounds. Well, things are not too smooth here in the old ball yard so far, are they?
Yes, they're feeling one another out, shall we say.
Really exciting. I'm sitting here adjusting the monitor to get the right color. Watch the ball game, will you? Down low to Dillard. Dillard reverses it and is hammered on the inside by Scott Taylor.
Good back cut by Dillard that time. Drew the foul.
Illinois State as a team is shooting 45% from the field. 67% at the line. Three-point range, not too bad. 35% three-point range. Illinois State has drained 69 of 196. Dillard will be at the line shooting 2 for the Bills. Big, strong kid, 6'5", 220 pounds, senior out of Chicago Westinghouse.
They don't have a lot of material for socks in St. Louis, but they got plenty of them for shorts, don't they?
Yeah, those are just about ankle stoppers, aren't they, those shorts?
Yeah.
Second throw is up and in. Al Hubbard is getting to his style report early. We haven't even played 2 minutes of the ball game.
Well, I thought we ought to talk about something.
Talking about the Sox already, it's a 2-2 contest. Wimhater looks out to Barnes. There's Barnes, puts it on the deck. Gets it back. See, the Billikens really working hard on defense, and the foul called on Brian Smith. The move of St. Louis U into the great Midwest Conference this year, of course, heralded a great deal of publicity in St. Louis, and then, of course, the 2 player defections. The resultant 0-6 conference mark kind of dimmed that whole attitude down there, but they're in a great league. This is a very young ball club. It's quite likely to come on. Lowell Jeffries from Trenton Westland High School in Illinois checks in. Double team, and the foul has been called on Erwin Claggett of Illinois State. Great Midwestern Conference consists of DePaul, St. Louis, Cincinnati, Marquette, Memphis State, and Alabama, Birmingham. Pretty fair country basketball league.
That is a tough league.
Pretty easy to go 0-6 there, isn't it? Well, they have a win over Alabama, Birmingham, but that must have been a non-conference victory. The feed low to Taylor. Taylor whirls to the hoop and hooks it home. Nice move. Scott Taylor, the sophomore from Newton, Massachusetts, with a nice little hook on the inside. 4-2 Illinois State. Art Kimball and Cal Hubbard with you from Redbird Arena tonight. We're just underway. And a foul on the inside against one of the Redbirds. Was it on Fowler?
Yes, just reached around a little bump.
Third team foul. No, I beg your pardon. They did not beat Alabama, Birmingham. They beat South Alabama.
Okay. One Alabama school is the same.
Well, that's right.
Seen one, you've seen
not
them all.
Quite. I don't think. Not athletically.
No.
Julian Winfield, a high mark. Being covered by Barnes. Here is Claggett. Irwin whirls in at about 14 and put her down. Irwin Claggett. Was it Clifton Harris Jr. is the coach, isn't he, at Venice? Had a team in the state tournament not too many years back. Claggett played on that ball club. Todd Cagle for the Redbirds. Right side to Wimhater. Wimhater to Taylor. Taylor tries to penetrate. Back to Todd Wimhater. Long three-point bomb is no good. Rebound Taylor, no good. Taylor gets it back again. Circles back, nose, return shot to Todd Cagle. He's free for the three and got it.
Good job of kicking the ball out to the opposite side. Todd was standing all alone for the three.
7-4 ball game for Cagle. That is his 10th three of the season. He's now a 500 shooter at that range. He's 10 of 20 at three-point range on the season. 7-4 Illinois State. On the lead by 3 thanks to that three-pointer. High mark to the baseline for the Billikens. Goes to the hoop. Pumps it up and in.
Good strong move to the basket. Weak side help was slow in getting there.
Scott Highmark is their number 1 3-point shooter. He is 39 at 98. He's taken a lot of them out there. 7-6 contest. Illinois State by 1. Scott Taylor crowded by Quitman Dillard. To Cagle. Scott Fowler. Fowler on the deck to the hoops. Nice move by Fowler.
Excellent power move by Scott that time. Took the ball to the basket with authority.
Birds back up by 3 at 9-6 as Claggett ball handles for St. Louis. Inside Jeffries with the hook. Rebound, Dillard away from Taylor. Missed it. Nice tip by Jeffries, but way over the back of Chuck Barnes.
Good position by Chuck Barnes that time. Did a good job of using his body.
Lowell Jeffries played for Paul Lusk in Trenton Westland. Of course, not the year they won the state championship, however. He was in junior college at that time. He's a good-sized kid, 6'8", 220-pounder. For the Billikens, lineup change as coming on is McClothier Irvin from Chicago South Shore. We have an official timeout. 15:43 left to play in the first half. It's ISU 9, St. Louis U 6.
All outside for a 3, and that's right now the difference in the game.
When Richard Thomas is out there teaming with Wimhaner in the backcourt, Cal, for Illinois State, defensively between them they have 64 steals this year, which is a tremendous improvement, a tremendous factor. Ball knocked away from Cagle. Suddenly the Billikens have gone to full court trapping pressure. As you saw, they slid 2 people over on Todd Cagle very quickly, and now ISU will inbound once again.
Real good job of changing defenses at the timeout, putting pressure on the ball.
Driving the ball up is Wimhaner. Wimhaner comes across for ISU. Brower's always been a very successful, very solid coach. He was a great high school coach at DeSmit Jesuit High School in St. Louis, and Fowler is fouled by Quitman Dillard. But I think he's lost favor maybe with the media down there and some of the fans, Cal, because of those player defections. But as you pointed out, you and I were talking privately, he's got a lot of freshmen.
Yes, he really does. But, you know, you can't always keep the media and happy.
There's
All you
Brower.
can do is do your job, and I think he works hard at bringing in good players and trying to get them to play.
Brower, the guy in the tan jacket.
You know, he's an excellent high school coach and had a great reputation in the St. Louis area, and that's how he got the St. Louis Billikens job.
Fowler nets the free throw. Redbirds lead it by 4 at 10-6. ISU currently 4 of 7 from the field, 57%. St. Louis is 2 of 9. Rebounding edge to ISU 6-4, and Scott Taylor already has 5 rebounds in this one. Second throw is up and in by Fowler. Well, Cal Hubbard, you've always done a good job of keeping the media happy.
I have.
You only get grouchy about once a week anymore. 11-6.
That's pretty good for me.
That's not bad at all. Saved by Wimhaner. Taylor down the floor to Wimhaner. Todd on the fly to the hoop. Can't get her down. There's no control as he went in. And the ball is taken away by the Billikens. Quickly on the steal by McClothier Irvin. Irvin right side high mark to Claggett. Claggett now dribbles out of traffic. This is Irwin Claggett. We have an Irvin on the floor. McClothier Irvin from Chicago South Shore and Irwin Claggett from Venice, Illinois. That's Irvin out front, number 22, and here's Claggett, number 13. Claggett looks for something inside. Bounce pass low. Jumper. Little fade away by Dillman. No good. A tip by Irvin. No good. Rebound. Scott Fowler. ISU by 5. Trying to go up 7 or 8. Wimhaner on the dribble drive. To Scotty Taylor. Bullseye.
ISU is really working hard on the defensive end. And St. Louis has missed a couple of shots that maybe they should have gotten down. But overall, ISU is really playing hard defensively.
Redbirds got up to such a horrendous start against Bradley the other night. And Claggett
chance.
Oh, man, oh, man.
That's one of those high degrees of difficulty shots,
What
like
did
you
he-
see at the Olympics.
The kid drained that. The youngster from Venice.
good back cut by
Backdoor
Todd.
Wimhaner, and Irvin fouled him.
Good back cut, and Scott found him from the high post.
Gonna see Irvin Claggett drill this one.
He ended up on the other side of the word Redbirds. That's a tough shot.
There's Vandegaard coming in for Illinois State, and in for St. Louis U is Eric Bickle, 6'10", 217-pound freshman from St. Louis Rittenhour High School. He was the Converse Missouri Player of the Year last year. Chad Altadonna, the hero of the win over Bradley Saturday night, will come on for the Redbirds in just a few moments. Going to replace Wimhaner, who's at the line right now, shooting a pair. Cal, I know you were otherwise occupied Saturday night playing up at Pontiac, but Mr. Altadonna put on a show.
That's what I've heard. It sounded like he broke loose offensively,
Yep.
but he also did some good things defensively.
Played a very good total ball game, and
It's great to see a kid step up and do that after struggling for playing time and all of a sudden getting a chance and coming through.
Second throw is up and in.
He's got to do a lot for his confidence and a lot for the coach's confidence in him.
I think Bob Binder and his staff must do a good job of handling kids in that situation. Steve Fish is at the game for Illinois State, too. And keeping youngsters happy who have been high school stars and have to sit out until they get the feel of the game is a difficult chore sometimes.
Well, then they do such a good job of staying positive with the kids.
15-8. I've noticed a lot of kids right out of high school, no matter how good they were in high school, get very realistic when they get to this level. They find out in a hurry what they can do and what they have to work on. And Altadonna and Kern both fall in that category, certainly. Here's Erwin Claggett. Spins out on him. Rebound underneath. The big guy, Bickle, has it. Lost it. There's Altadonna diving on the floor. Erwin Claggett back inside to Bickle. Bickle lost, and Altadonna with the basketball. There's Chad roaring down. Bounce past Steve Fitch. And we got a travel on Fitch. Might have had a travel on Altadonna prior to that. They were both galloping just a little bit. And St. Louis University will have the basketball. They'll be inbounded by the Billikens. McClothier Irwin. Claggett checks out, and Highmark comes back in. Also out there, Julian Winfield. So Winfield, Highmark. McClothier Irwin on the floor, along with Bickle. Guess that's it. And Grauer. Grauer is checking the ball game. Coach's son, Kevin Grauer. 15-8. Illinois State leads it by 7. 13-21 for the first half of the ball game.
Grauer's a real good outside shooter. I think he redshirted last year.
I believe you're right. There's Grauer being covered by Todd Cagle. Grauer goes inside. Ball is knocked away, and here is Altadonna with the steal. Chad brings it down for the Redbirds. Grauer strips him from behind. Kicks the pass over to Julian Winfield. Winfield roars down against Cagle.
Good heads-up play by Grauer, staying after the ball.
Altadonna out to challenge Grauer. Now he'd like to return the favor on that steal.
Sure he would.
Grauer very, very quick. 5'11", 160. He's only a freshman. Highmark pulls it up over Vandegaard. Spins in and out. Rebound, Highmark. Got it in.
They're getting some good shots inside and some second shot opportunities.
15-10. ISU by 5. Vandegaard. Nice feed. Taylor won't go. Rebound controlled inside by Highmark for the Billikens. Works it off quickly up the floor now to Kevin Grauer. Grauer, left side, Highmark, three-point bomb. Rattles out of there. Jeffries, good inside position by Vandegaard. Vandegaard clears to Cagle. Cagle to Vandegaard. Bickle moves out on Vandegaard and just kind of draped all over him, picked up the foul. The freshman, Eric Bickle, probably will learn before too long. You can't reach both arms over the shoulder and not make contact with the body.
You can't even do that in high school.
Although Bickle's got the longest arms, he might have been able to do it. He checks out, and coming back in is going to be Lowell Jeffries. Rich Grauer apparently feels he needs to keep a fairly good-sized lineup out there.
He's got a lot of big kids he keeps rotating in.
Erwin Claggett comes back in, replacing Scott Highmark.
I'm glad you're doing the play-by-play, Art. I can't keep up with how many people are going in there.
What do you think of the amount of substituting that goes on in college basketball these days?
You know, I guess everybody has their own style, and you know, if kids play hard, they're going to get tired. But that's the reason we play zone. I can't keep track of the matchups.
Free throw by Vandegaard misfires. Yeah, I would think it'd be very difficult. Now Hicks is out there for ISU. The ISU lineup: Altadonna, Hicks, Vandegaard, Fowler, and Fitch.
The college coaches don't have any trouble with it. They're a lot smarter than us high school coaches.
I suppose. Winfield goes to the basket. Ball is blocked on the inside. We're going to see it again. Got a timeout upcoming. Let's see the block. Nice block by Vandegaard, and for Vandegaard, that is his 27th block of the season. ISU by 5.
But if we buy 2, it's like anybody else buying 4 or 5.
Well, I suppose that's right.
A lot of material.
Yeah. Well, you're right. Both coaches are in tan. Well, thank goodness he got on that and got off the socks for a while. At least change the subject. Billikens will inbound the basketball.
There's just a lot of excitement.
That's right. No doubt about it. Under the ISU attacking basket. All right. Triggering the ball in for St. Louis U is Irvin. They come out front now to Winfield. Julian Winfield. 6'4", 185-pound freshman, 9.5 scoring average. He stole the ball 22 times this year. Another newcomer in the lineup now, Marcus Jones out there for the first time. Marcus Jones is the Northern Arkansas junior college transfer. Illegal pick has been whistled against Lowell Jeffries, his second. Billikens have 3 junior college transfers. Jeffries is 1. He's from Belleville area junior college. There's a look at Mr. Jeffries, number 42. Going back down the floor, and Mike Vandegaard will be at the free throw line for ISU, where he just missed his first throw. Vandegaard shooting .646 at the line. Now back in for St. Louis U is Quitman Dillard. The tempo has been so disjointed in this ball game. Nobody's really been able to get any kind of a rhythm and really get a spurt, which I think has worked in St. Louis's favor. The free throw by Vandegaard is good. 19 foul on the Bills, so that's a bonus upcoming for Vandegaard. ISU shooting 50%, 5 of 10. St. Louis 4 of 17, just 24% for the Billikens. Second throw is up and in by Vandegaard. Rebounds 11-8 edge to St. Louis. Turnovers, ISU with 6, St. Louis with 5. Here's Quitman Dillard, kid from Chicago Westinghouse, pulls it up over Fowler. Rebound tipped up on the inside, no good. Irvin out there, by the way, may have been a high school teammate of Fowler's. Probably was. He's only a junior. Pass out front, stolen away. The Billikens Winfield with the slam dunk as he pilfers the errant pass out front, and the Bills are back within 5 at 17-12.
A little too casual with the ball that time.
Antoine Hicks lobbed the ball. Altadonna wasn't ready for it, but fortunately ISU recovered. Antoine Hicks with Marcus Jones all over him for St. Louis. Here's Vandegaard. Vandegaard crowded. Played tough by Irvin to the hoop. Vandegaard off balance, lays it off the glass.
Real good job of body control, avoiding the charge on the help side that time by Mike.
ISU to a 7-point cushion now at 19-12. That may be Vandegaard's strongest move. He's got a lot of them, but that slide in the baseline, he does it extremely well.
I think he wanted to make up for the last turnover, too.
Yeah.
And that's what you wanted a kid. He wanted to come back after a mistake.
He had a spectacular reverse layup the other night in the guts of the ball game against Bradley. Shot by Claggett, no good out front. The rebound was tipped. Scott Fowler has it off to Chad Altadonna. ISU by 7. Vandegaard, baseline around Irvin to the glass, up and in. And again, Vandegaard works him over on the baseline. Hard to believe Vandegaard's only averaging 9.1 points per game for the season, but he has some very low-scoring efforts early on, remember. Here's Marcus Jones, pass stolen away by Hicks. Down the floor to Fowler. Fowler to Steve Fitch. Fitch pulls it up off the glass. And the Redbirds have run to an 11-point lead. The Billikens have to call a timeout as ISU waxes warm here in the first half at Redbird Arena. Up to an 11-point lead. We'll be back with more in just a moment. 9:44 for the half. Our guest at halftime will be ISU's Todd Cagle on our player profile. Erwin Claggett from Venice, Illinois. Little weave out front now. This, of course, is what Bob Bender was expecting. You see a lot of weave here tonight from the Billikens. Quitman Dillard inside to Smith. He can't hang on to the pass. Loses it out of bounds. Brian Smith, the kid from Crete Maunee, juggled the lead pass. Score remains at 23-12. Illinois State has it on the turnover. And that's the 8th turnover for St. Louis. Look at Billikens setting up in a zone, huh? You got a 1-2-2, Cal?
Looks like zone to me.
Well, you're our defensive expert. I hope so.
Yeah, it's either 1-2 or 3-2, whatever he wants to call it.
Brian Kern on the post now for the Redbirds.
Gotta get good ball movement against the zone.
Richard Thomas out there, too. Not to interrupt you, Cal, but Thomas and Kern are both in. Go ahead.
Just got to get good ball movement, pick the weak side.
Three-pointer by Hicks comes up a shade short. Rebound to Quitman Dillard. Down the floor quickly to Highmark. Highmark in the paint to the glass, up and in.
Yeah, Highmark is awful tough inside for a freshman.
Nice play.
He takes the ball the hole pretty hard. It's a nice job.
12.7 average, 6'4", 200-pounder. Stole the ball 22 times. That's 46 assists on the year for the Bills. 23-14, Illinois State lead down to 9. Richard Thomas. Off to Fitch for 3. Came off too hard, rolled out of bounds. The basketball goes back to St. Louis U. Thomas has a little bit of a knee problem, I think, is the difficulty. He's got a knee pad on the right knee. Todd Cagle checks back at the Illinois State lineup for Antoine Hicks.
I read that he had a deep knee bruise, and they don't heal real quickly.
Here's Grauer. Grauer's shot will not go. Out front to Highmark's going to try the 3 for the Billikens. It won't go. Quitman Dillard It won't go. There's 3 shots they missed, all pretty good shots.
They do load it up, don't they?
Indeed they do. Richard Thomas to Cagle. Todd Cagle for Illinois State has Fitch in one corner. Out front, Richard Thomas, Cagle. Fitch, 3 pretty good perimeter shooters out there right now, and Fitch, Cagle, and Thomas for Illinois State, with Kern in the right corner, and the low post man is Fowler. Kern from the side. It won't go, and Highmark grabs the rebound for St. Louis. Scott Highmark has been the standout for the Billikens in the first half. He and Claggett. Here's Claggett holding the ball on the right wing. ISU by 9 as Quitman Dillard to the baseline, pulls it up, rattles it out. Finally, it's slammed in. ISU wants offensive goaltending. They don't get it. Brian Smith.
It was offensive goaltending, whether they get it or not. The ball was over the cylinder when he slammed it in.
23-16. Brian Smith. And the international game, and this is the Olympic time. Not for basketball, however. It's legal, right? Yeah, he was definitely in the cylinder.
Yeah, that was no doubt.
Fitch, 3-pointer. Rebound, hauled down by Smith. Brian Smith grabs her out of there. Claggett. Steve Fitch is only a 31% shooter at the 3-point range. I think a lot of our viewers might thought he's a little warmer than that. 13 of 42, so.
The high post area is open. We've got to get some flash going. Now we got Scott setting up in the high post.
Kern went to the basket, scored. A foul, however, called prior to the shot by Brian Kern, the freshman from Vandalia. You're going to see the goaltend at the other end.
We'll see if we're wrong or the officials are wrong.
No basket, foul number 30, Brian Smith, his third.
The officials are wrong.
Yeah, he was up there. Yeah, definitely. Brian Smith picks up the foul on Smith. That's his third. At the line, Brian Kern. Brian Iannett for Illinois State. Got it. Kern is a 5.56 free throw shooter. There's a good look at Brian. He's improving a little bit every ball game, and I think we'll see a world of difference in Mr. Kern next year, don't you?
Well, this time of year, you don't look at your freshmen as freshmen. It's time for them to play like sophomores.
Yeah, when you're playing your 22nd game of the year, that's absolutely correct. 25-16, ISU lead 9 points. Winfield across for the Billikens to the side. The long bomb by Highmark is there for a 3. 9 points for Scott Highmark.
Didn't get matched up off the press that time. Left the shooter open. Got to identify the shooters on the outside.
25-19. Billikens back in what looks to be kind of a 2-3 zone now. Fitch drove the baseline. Boy, they really sagged back there and cut it off to him. And so St. Louis on the ISU turnover takes over.
That's it.
Elvin Flores in for the first time in a long, long while, replacing Fitch. Elvin Flores, who is 6'3", 180, a senior from Chicago Westinghouse with a 1.8 average. And his first opportunity for some playing time in quite a while. Highmark being hounded by Thomas. On the switch, Flores has him. Flores almost stole the basketball. And Dillard, the ball is knocked away, and Cagle comes out with it. There's Cagle down the floor. It's 3-on-1 to Thomas, all the way to the hoop for 2.
Good job of taking it strong to the hole. And in spite of getting bumped, he still got the shot down.
For Flores, this is his 7th game appearance of the season. Pretty play at the other end. The reverse dunk by Eric Bickle of St. Louis.
Real good back cut. Claggett did a good job of finding it.
27-21 ball game. The Redbird lead is now down to 6. It's been as much as 11. Flores to Cagle to Thomas. Thomas backpedals to Scott Fowler. Fowler off to Cagle. They look low to Kern. Kern getting a lot of pressure on the inside from Bickle in there, number 44. Here's a 3-point bomb. No good. Rebound. Brian Kern back to the hoop. No good. In and out. Rebound. Deflected over to Claggett, and the Billikens are on the run.
In the right place at the right time. Just didn't get the shot down. Brian did a good job going to the boards.
Quitman Dillard at long range, no good. Cagle actually muscled Highmark out of the way. Todd Cagle comes down all the way to the hoop, feeds Flores, over to the glass, up and in.
Good job of penetrating by Todd and staying under control.
Yeah, great assist and a great follow by Flores to make Elvin feel good, huh? Hadn't played for a while and get an opportunity and score at the business end of the break, 29-21. Winfield in the paint, spins out. Nice rebound to Richard Thomas. Man, Thomas is pretty tough on the boards for a little guy. He averages almost 4 rebounds a game. Flores drains the shot a little bit short. Brian Kern had the rebound. The fans of that end think he stayed in bounds. The official, Paul Gaster, says no, and the basketball goes back to St. Louis.
replaces Brian Kern for the Redbirds.
Taylor comes in for Kern for Illinois State. Wimhainer back in for Todd Cagle. 4:32 to go in the half, and Illinois State leading by 8 at 29-21. There you see Rich Grauer up in front of the St. Louis bench, directing his ball club. They kind of walk it up to the Billikens. It's Julian Winfield. Cardinal Ritter High School in St. Louis is where Winfield played. St. Louis City has pretty good prep basketball, both the public schools and the parochial schools. High mark with Richard Thomas all over it. They come to Quitman Dillard. Dillard being covered by Wimhainer, rolls it up and in.
That was a good defensive effort by Todd that time. He just got it.
Dillard's pretty strong.
And he got a good roll on the ball.
6'5", and 220 pounder. He kind of backed him in. Wimhainer, Flores, Wimhainer. Taylor trying to post high with Vandegaard down low against this zone defense. Now Taylor flashes out high, but they go on the perimeter. Here's Richard Thomas to Wimhainer. Wimhainer had the shot, a little reluctant to take it. Off to Richard Thomas. Good penetration by Richard. Shot no good. Rebound Scott Taylor up and off. Nice one by Vandegaard. Back to the hoop and in.
Good job of attacking the glass. Good things happen when you rebound.
8 points for Mike Vandegaard. 31-23. Birds by 8 at the 3:23 mark now. High mark cross toward Dillard. Quitman goes up, under, and scores.
He's got a lost defensive assignment.
31-25. St. Louis has warmed to the occasion considerably, Cal, as this ball game has gone along, playing with a lot more confidence now. Of course, that ball starts to drop, your confidence level rises accordingly.
They've had some really good shots. They just haven't gotten them down, but they're still battling.
Vandegaard being crowded over here, played tough by Irwin. McClothier Irvin out of Chicago South Shore. Right corner, Vandegaard, skip pass against the zone to Thomas to Wimhainer. Down to 12 seconds on the shot clock. Wimhainer's going to take the three. Rattles out of there, and Elvin Flores grabs it back. Fresh 45 seconds on the clock. 2:35 for the half, and Todd Wimhainer. Richard Thomas. Richard was tempted, wasn't he? He almost pulled up. Elvin Flores in the corner. Being crowded by Highmark. Flores to the basket, up and in. No basket.
That was a tough call. He did a good job of avoiding the charge. I really thought it was a tough call for Elvin. That was a good move, and he did a good job of trying to avoid the contact. I think it was a no call, if anything.
Flores made the basket, does not count. We have an official timeout with 2:23 to go in the half. It's Illinois State by 6 at 31-25. Back in just a moment. All right, there you see the ISU huddle. Elvin Flores, as you see, has not played since that first Wichita State game, which would have been the one out of Wichita. And as we mentioned, he's only playing his 7th game of the season here tonight. Playing pretty well, Cal.
He did a nice job of taking the ball to the basket in the last play. It's a shame he didn't get the call, but that's part of basketball.
It's part of the ISU dance line, performing here during the timeout period at Redbird Arena. One thing about this point in the basketball season, ISU has 2 nagging injuries right now with Richard Thomas, of course, less than 100%. It's also Steve Fitch, less than 100%. You have to rely on that bench a little bit. You better have, at the college level, a full roster of kids that can play.
Well, by this time, you should have a rotation of kids you feel comfortable with. And on some nights when things aren't going well, you may reach for some other people, and that's what Coach Bender's done tonight. And also with St. Louis playing zone, that's another reason he brought Elvin into the ballgame, because Elvin's known as a good shooter.
All right, the Billikens bring the ball up the floor. McClothier Irvin from Chicago South Shore, 6'5", 226-pound junior, brings it across. Irvin inside, little fadeaway against Taylor, doesn't go. Scott Taylor with another rebound. He's having a big night on the boards. The Redbirds shooting 42% on 11 of 26. St. Louis is up to 33 on 11 of 33. Rebounding, the Billikens with 20, ISU with 18. Rebound, Taylor taken out of there on a nice board by Irvin. McClothier Irvin down quickly for St. Louis. He comes out front to Jeffries as he backpedals. Make that Eric Bickle, number 44. Now to Winfield. 31-25 with 1:40 to go in the first half. Art Kimball and University High School. Coach Cal Hubbard with you from Redbird Arena. Winfield launches it. Got it. 2-pointer.
ISU's had a chance to blow this ball game open, and now St. Louis has hung in. Now they're back in the ball game. Good offensive possessions and not getting anything out of them. A couple of tough calls. But ISU needs a basket here.
4-point lead to the Redbirds. Chuck Barnes is back out there. So you have Barnes and Vandegaard in the forwards. Actually, Taylor has been playing the low post with this combination. Here's Wimhaner. Chuck Barnes looks inside to Vandegaard. 3-second violation against Illinois State, called by official Tommy Smith.
I hate that call more than any call in basketball. You can call it every time down the floor.
It could be because you have a 6'8" center on your current ball club that may have something to do with it.
I really hate it then.
Didn't like it before, huh? When you had a 6'1" center, you didn't care for it. All right, the Billikens bring the ball up the floor. We're down to 1:04 in the first half of basketball here at Redbird Arena.
This is as close as St. Louis has been for a while. ISU needs a good defensive stop.
Big possession for both clubs. Claggett.
Tough shot.
Yeah. Well, Erwin Claggett hits his third field goal. We got a 2-point ball game, 31-29. Redbird lead has been reduced to 2. Todd Cagle across to Todd Wimhaner.
Got about a 6-second difference in the shot clock.
31 seconds left on the shot clock. Chuck Barnes hangs it on the outer rim. Nice rebound to Scott Highmark. With half a minute to go, the shot clock is turned off. 31-29. The Billikens looking for a tie or the lead on a three-pointer. As you see, we got 20 seconds left to go in the half. The Billikens going to run it down for one shot. They've climbed quite a mountain. They were down 11 in the first half and going nowhere, shooting just 17% at one point. We're back within 2. We're down to 7 seconds. Here's Claggett. Claggett, a little off balance, got it up, didn't go. Rebound Dillard, ball loose on the floor. Nobody can gain possession, and that's it at the halftime intermission. So the Illinois State lead that was 11 is now 2 at the halftime intermission, as the Redbirds did very little in their favor the last few minutes of the first half, and the Billikens came on. We'll be back with our halftime show in just a moment.
Point blank, ask you this question. How many people told you you couldn't play Division I basketball?
Well, you know, people really didn't come out and say it, but, you know, maybe it's the actions that speak louder than words. You know, not getting recruited until the summer before college is a definite action. And just, you know, a couple people here and there, but not too many.
Obviously, the reason you can play at this level is hard work. You spend an awful lot of time with this game, haven't you?
Well, it's something I enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, I really like to play basketball, and I really like to work on my game. It's just fun to me, so it's been kind of easy.
What about the high school background? Of course, you played here in town and played your 2 years for Tom Eater over at Normal Community. You're a pretty heavy scorer for the Ironmen, weren't you?
Well, the offense was based around shooting, so that's kind of what I can do, so I was able to thrive in his system.
What'd you average, about 18 a game over there?
18, yeah.
That's a lot in Eater's offense. It really is.
Yeah.
You learned to play some defense there, too, didn't you?
Yeah, he stressed defense, and just like Coach Bender, kind of the same principles, and that's kind of helped me out here as well.
Yeah. You've had a knack throughout your college career to be in the right place at the right time, but more importantly, you've delivered. You've had opportunities, haven't you?
Well, it's not really a matter of me being, you know, a great player in that situation or Mr. Clutch. I think it's just Coach has put me in the opportunity, and I've been fortunate, maybe a little bit lucky.
Yeah. Well, you got to be a little bit lucky, too, but you'll take that reputation, won't you?
Sure.
No quarrel with that. What about a little thing like free throw shooting? You do it pretty well. It's kind of a lost art in college basketball today.
Well, it's just a feel, you know. The more free throws you shoot, probably the better you're going to be.
Yeah.
I know if you're only shooting 1 or 2 free throws a game, you're going to have a tough time putting them down. But if you can get up to the line on a consistent basis, you'll be able to knock them down.
Last couple of ball, particularly in the Indiana State game over in Terre Haute last Saturday, you played quite a bit. You actually logged maybe a few more minutes than you normally do. And the question I'm leading up to, Todd, it's got to be difficult to come off the bench, play for 4 or 5 minutes, go out, sit for 10, come back in, maybe play for 6 or 7 more. You seem to have been able to adapt to that, though.
Well, that's tough in any player situation, and the minutes you get, I guess you got to do the best you can. And if you're playing well, you're going to play more. If it's just what the team needs. So I'm just trying to give us a little spark.
Passing's another art that I think is sometimes underrated in basketball. And again, I go back to that win at Indiana State. You were able to thread the needle to Wimhaner, and they got the winning bucket. When that happens, you feel as good as if you made the basket, don't you?
Yeah, it was a team effort, and I was just happy to be able to get Todd the ball in the right place.
What's been your biggest thrill so far?
Alongside the going to the NCAA my freshman year, probably at Tulsa this year.
I kind of thought you might say that.
That was a nice game.
If you could have written the script, it would have been identical, wouldn't it? Well, Todd, thank you so much, and best of luck to you the rest of this year, and have a big year next year.
Thank you.
Go get them.
He was an extremely coachable youngster. He was a student of the game. He refined the techniques of shooting to develop what we felt at that point was as good a shot as we had ever seen from a high school player. And he worked endless hours at perfecting that. And from all I've read that Coach Bender has said about him, and from talking with Todd and seeing him, he comes back here in the summer and shoots still and works on his game. He's just a student of it. He works hard at it, and never gives up. He doesn't look at odds and look at other things. He just plays the game as hard as he can. And so I'm not disbelieving at all. Matter of fact, I'm very extremely proud of him, and hope that his success continues.
55-53, down to 8 seconds, down to 7. Cagle takes the jump shot. He got it!